Welcome to the Fit 15 podcast show, where you'll find health and fitness inspiration, motivation, and information shared in 15-minute episodes. Tune in while getting a move on to make leading and enjoying the benefits of a healthy lifestyle almost too easy. It's the Fit 15. And now your host, Catherine Basu.
Welcome to the Fit 15 podcast show. I'm your host, Catherine Basu, and welcome back to my fans. Are you one of the latter? Don't forget to leave a review for the show in iTunes to help more people find it and enjoy the same fitness inspiration and information that you are enjoying 5 days a week. For a quick way to find the show in iTunes, you can go to fitarmadillo.com/iTunes. Today on the show, I have an awesome guest who is going to help me with a topic I'm super passionate about: encouraging and supporting moms on their fitness journey. Okay, 2 topics I'm passionate about. We're also going to talk about running. So this is a mom who went from not running at all to running during her second pregnancy, which just came to completion after the interview. Please go and check out photos of her son, Michael, over on Instagram, to actually becoming a race director, CEO, and founder. So really inspirational story. Whether you're a mom or not, you're going to enjoy it and her tips. So let's go ahead and dive right into today's episode. My guest today is Courtney Poullas. She is the race director, founder, and CEO of the Youngstown Marathon. She's also a distance runner who has run late into her pregnancy and advocates for other women to remain fit during pregnancy and beyond. So welcome to the podcast, Courtney. I'm so excited to have you as our guest today.
Thank you. I'm excited to be on.
Awesome. So wanted to know what motivated you to keep running during pregnancy, and maybe even before that, what had you decide to run during your pregnancy this time versus previously? Because you mentioned that you have a daughter, but that you didn't run during your pregnancy with her.
I think the biggest thing for me is I was I was kind of unhealthy last time.
Sure.
I didn't really know a whole lot about working out and stuff like that last time. So once I started running when my daughter was about, 4 or 5 months old.
Okay.
Once I started running and understanding endorphins and how great it made me feel, I think I kind of held on to that feeling, and that's what made me commit to continuing to run through pregnancy, regardless of how difficult it became.
Yeah, no, and probably for several reasons, right? Because not only is it just the physical demands of actually running during pregnancy, but also just, everything else going on in your life. So you obviously do a lot. I'm really excited to learn more about you founding the marathon, but how do you balance having 2 kids already, running during pregnancy, and race directing?
I love all of it. I think that's the biggest thing. If you really love running and if you really love what you do, and I really love directing the marathon, you'll find time to do it. None of it feels like work to me, I guess. So I think as far as balancing it, I just love it so much that I would always find time for it no matter what's happening.
That's awesome, and really great advice to go after what you love. I really like running. That's how I got into fitness. But before I found that, I really didn't like forms of fitness because mostly my exposure was gym class. I'm always trying to get people to find things that they enjoy first.
Yeah, and I was in the same boat. So once I found something like running, it's just, I know that I need to do it for myself. So it's my me time, and that's why I make time for it.
Got it. So you didn't find running until after you had your daughter. So I wonder, how then did you find and get into running?
I was one of those lucky people who could just eat whatever I wanted before I got pregnant and remain at 84 pounds. It was ridiculous. And I gained close to 55. Okay. And I didn't know anything, like I said, about eating right or working out or anything. So I just decided, I have legs. Maybe I'll give this a try and see if I like it. I hated it at first. But then I loved it. Once I figured out how much I loved it, it kept me going because I was losing baby weight and I was feeling a lot better. I had a little bit of postpartum depression. So I think those 2 things combined are why I stuck with it.
I really love how you have shared that and have been honest with your story. I just recently had another awesome, wonderful guest on who had a similar experience of finding running while she was experiencing postpartum depression and was trying to just literally run away from her problems, wasn't really expecting that running was going to work. So love hearing how running can be so important and helpful to moms. One thing I experience as a personal trainer who is very passionate about running and always has been, because that's what got me excited and interested in fitness, is that I'll have clients come to me who have started running journeys in the past but tell me that running is just not for them because they had bad experiences with it. Wondering if you can share some insights on how to get started with running. I think one of the biggest issues I find with clients is that they don't realize how long it takes to adopt to make running actually fun. So, do you have any insights to share with how you can go from hating running to actually loving it, even if you struggled with running in the past?
Yeah, so my mom signed me up for the Color Run 5K, basically with very little permission. She just signed me up online. And I did it, and I didn't like it. I'm not sure what it was. I didn't train for it or anything. I didn't like it. And then I went to the gym, and I got on the treadmill, and I ran 4 miles, and I really liked that. And I think the biggest thing was just understanding that your pace is your pace, and your level of physical activity with running is your level of physical activity, and not to compare yourself. I feel like people, they sprint going out, whatever sprinting means. They either want to run the whole time or they want to run a certain pace. And if people could just, like you're saying, let themselves adapt,
Mm,
maybe start out with run, walk, run intervals or something like that, so that because it's an accomplishment, regardless of how long a mile or however long it takes you.
right.
But if they could just be patient with themselves and see that they can actually do it, it'll build up. And you'll get faster and be able to go farther. So I think starting out slow at your current fitness level is the best thing people can do, and something they don't do often enough.
Right. No, no, that's great advice. Wondering too, Courtney, do you have any advice for other women who want to remain fit during pregnancy and, whether it's through running or anything else, obviously like asking for advice and permission from their physician and everything else, but do you have any other advice just that you might want to share about that?
My biggest piece of advice is not to pay attention to how slow you're going to get, because it's going to happen. I mean, it'll absolutely, you'll double your mile time, or tack a lot of extra minutes onto it. So I think leaving the watch at home and just kind of.
Hey, for those of you who only have 15 minutes to join us, that is your halfway point reminder. Turn around now. But remember, 15 minutes is still a great amount of time. You should be proud of yourself if that's all you have today.
Going out there for the enjoyment of it versus I want to hit this pace or I want to hit that pace or I want to go this far, and just running to run is
Mm-hmm.
how it's been enjoyable for me during pregnancy. So you have to let go of the stuff we usually pay attention to, like time and pace.
Right, right. No, I definitely agree with that advice. So Courtney, I have some fan questions for you now. I have a question from Diana, who is pregnant and wrote in that every time she walks, she feels like she has to use the bathroom. So she wants to genuinely know, because she felt like this might be a silly question, how can you run when the baby feels like they're resting comfortably on your bladder? Do you have any insights for Diana?
They have belts. There's a variety of brands out there. They have belts that you can put around your stomach to kind of like lift it up a little bit.
Hmm.
So that's definitely one thing that I've suggested to people. And the other is plan on having bathrooms on your route. If you have to run around the block 3 times because you need to stop home, every time you run around the block, then do it. Or I spent a lot of time on the treadmill for that reason. I would feel that pressure, and I would have to go to the bathroom a lot. So I think staying close to home or planning out where there are going to be bathrooms on my routes, or just simply using the treadmill, kind of helped alleviate some of that.
Yeah, so kind of just plan ahead. No, realize it's probably going to happen and plan accordingly.
Yeah. Yeah,
Got it.
but and the baby's position will change, and that's something that physicians can usually help with. Is it's probably the way the baby's laying that's causing that pressure. So I was given some stretches and some things like that to do to help him shift around a little bit, and that also seemed to help.
Awesome. And I also had a question from AJ, who wanted to learn more about running postpartum and how that all works out with an infant and while breastfeeding. So I'm not sure if you have any insights on this exact question, but would love to share some for AJ if you do.
I did. So I ran a color run when I was still nursing
Okay.
exclusively. So I have a little bit of experience with it, but I would just make sure that I was pumping a lot to kind of accommodate for when I wouldn't be able to be here to nurse her.
Right.
And I stayed away from long distances. You know, sometimes it's just the sacrifice you have to make. Nursing comes with a lot of sacrifices, like
Sure.
sleeping and having any kind of schedule whatsoever, especially when they're really young. So I think just pumping from the get-go, like when you get home from the hospital and having a supply build up, that'll take away some of that anxiousness about that.
Sure. No, that's definitely good advice. So I think it's amazing that you went from, just starting running just a few years ago then, right? To becoming the
Mhm.
race director, founder, and CEO of the Youngstown Marathon. So can you share, like, I mean, I guess first just how that happened, and then I'll ask you some questions on that too, but I think that's really cool.
So there was an article in our local newspaper that our city was getting a marathon. Someone came up with this idea, and I wanted to volunteer for it. So I signed up to volunteer, and I noticed that I was getting more and more responsibility over the next few days. And then race director just bailed. So
Oh,
it
wow.
kind of fell into my lap.
Yep, yep.
And I just love the race so much. I did some crazy stuff. I was a senior manager in a corporate company, and I just I quit on the spot to take
Wow.
on this race and make it happen.
Yep.
So I thought my husband was going to kill me. It was never done before in our city, so we didn't know what to expect. We didn't know if it was going to be a complete flop or what was going to happen, but I was determined. So
Hmm.
we had a great first year.
No, that's really awesome and exciting. And I mean, I looked quickly on the marathon page, and it looked like so you also raised money for the community as well, right?
Yeah, we raised $15,000 last year and split it between two local charities. So we were so happy to be able to do that for the city.
And this is the second year for the race then?
Yeah, 2018 is our second year, and we have a good outlook as far as registration and everything like that. So it's going well.
Very cool. No, that's really exciting. Really. And what do you have different community groups that you're going to be donating to this year, or is it going to be the same or anything along those lines people might want to know about?
We kept the United Way of the Mahoning Valley, so that was one of the same charities we had last year. And we've added Youngstown Cityscape, and
Okay.
they're wonderful. They beautify the city of Youngstown. They've got this big planting day during the day of our expo where they just plant flowers and really make the city look wonderful. And this year they're going to be renovating a running trail on the north side of Youngstown, so the funding will help them make sure they can renovate that and get more people out there focusing on their fitness.
Very cool. And that's awesome. Very cool. So had some questions, beyond mine, because I think it's just amazing going from just starting running and actually going on to become the race director, and the brave stance you took to just quit your job. Quit your job. That could be an
It was
interview for a whole other day.
crazy.
But I had someone who shared she's thought about starting an annual 5K, so not as big as a marathon. If you thought the process might be similar, or any tips for starting a race in general, I guess.
It's all pretty similar. It's just the scale of it. You know, you've got to have water stops, you've got to have volunteers. Most of the time you have to have sponsors and stuff like that. So it's different levels, but it's typically the same kind of event planning process. My advice would be to form a strong team, because that's really what got us to our level of success last year.
Mhm.
Is it's hard. I mean, even a marathon's, like you said, it's obviously a bigger event, but there's so much that goes into it. There's city permitting, there's money, there's course measuring. And if you have people you can delegate those things to that want to do it and know what they're doing, that'll make the race a lot more of a success.
Mm,
So
that
definitely forming a strong team.
So do you have any pros and cons for going through an established sponsor for the timing and registration logistics right away? Or I don't know if you've had it the first year, but and it sounds like you guys did have a sponsor, but I don't know if you had any insights on that whole process.
Both of our main title sponsors, well, actually, we have three of them. All
Okay.
three of our title sponsors are either running related or have sponsored other very large marathons. So I think finding sponsors who understand the value of road races is a big thing.
Mm.
they can offer so much more than just finances too. I mean, they offer volunteers and they offer to help and that kind of stuff. So local running stores, that's a good place to start. We've got Chemical Bank and Mercy Health of Youngstown. They also sponsored the Detroit Marathon and Toledo Glass City. So they've had their hands in these kinds of events for a while, and they're providing us a lot of support along with the financial part of it.
Oh, that's awesome. Very cool. Well, I don't know if I'm ready to take on race directing yet, but it's definitely seems like an exciting thing to watch from the side and participate in.
It's great. I mean, it's crazy. I mean, we're to the point now where my staff and I call each other probably, at least 5 times a day, just getting everything in order. And with the baby too, like we're trying to kind of stockpile what we can now.
Right,
So
right.
the rest of the month is free for me. So, but that's what I mean. Your team will be there for you. They'll help you out. And I call it event planning on steroids because that really is how it feels. But it's worth it. I mean, when you can, hand those checks out to charities that help kids get a better start in life or help the city further revive itself. I mean, it's kind of priceless. It's all worth it.
Yeah, no, for sure. I can only imagine. And so the race itself is in June then for people that are maybe interested who are listening. So they still have time to sign up if they've been training.
Yeah. Yeah. June 3rd, we'll have the marathon, half marathon, and 5K all on the
Awesome.
same day. June 2nd is our Health and Fitness Expo.
Okay, very cool. So now, does the race have like a cap in terms of how many participants?
No,
Or
we'll take everybody.
very cool.
Yeah. Anyone who wants to come, we welcome them.
So by the time I probably publish this episode, Courtney, I bet you'll have your little one will be out in the world, but hopefully.
Yep. About a week max, I think. A week max.
So how can people continue to follow you in your journey postpartum and your running journey and connect with you and learn more about the marathon?
Yeah. So my Instagram account is where I do a lot of my interactions and posts about running and the marathon. And my username on there is
C Court Run, which is also Courtney's blog, SEECOURTRUN.com.
youngstownmarathon.com is where we'll post all the media and the updates about the.
So, well, thank you so much for being a guest. I don't know if you have anything else you want to share before we close out, but I think we've definitely inspired some moms and maybe some future race directors. We'll have to see.
Yeah, I just want to say thanks for having me on the podcast. And I hope the information and the advice helps a few people out there.
Oh, you're welcome. And I'm definitely sure that it has.
Thanks for listening to the Fit 15. For show notes and more, visit fitarmadillo.com/podcast. See you next time.
Hey guys, it's Catherine. Wanted to share 2 quick things. One, don't forget to go to instagram.com/ccourtrun to check out Courtney's new bundle of joy. Michael, congratulate her and thank her for the episode and sharing her insights. And while I am not an in-person race director quite yet, and I'm not quite sure I want to tackle that, I have been hosting some virtual fun runs and fundraisers to benefit my favorite nonprofit, Girls on the Run. Last week, I did a little in-person event at Run and Roll in West Palm Beach to help out that chapter, that council of Girls on the Run, and I have continued it online. So if you want to sign up as a virtual runner and give back to the Girls on the Run program in general and specifically to the West Palm Beach Council, I still have that goal of getting enough signups so we can help one girl go through the programming the next season there. So share it with a friend, sign up, you'll get a sparkly finisher's medal, and you'll get to have some great fitness motivation to get out there, do a walk, run, jog, skip, go at your happy pace for 3.1 miles, 5 kilometers, and be able to give back to the community. So I hope you will join us in that. Tell a friend, and if you subscribe to the podcast, which you definitely should, I will chat with you tomorrow. Talk then. Bye.